Welcome, everybody, to the Pro Wrestling Wire podcast. This is Rick Del Santo. Of course, you can catch us on the AIWF network as well and ProWrestlingWire.net. Today, returning to the show, it's actually been, now, Greg, 2 years and 2 days since your first appearance here.
Oh, wow. That's
So
great.
when I looked that up today, I thought that was pretty damn interesting. So,
And my favorite number, it was my number when I played basketball in school, was 22. So
all right, then.
2 years and 2 days. It's all coming around.
There you
It's
go.
it's kismet we're here right now.
So, and obviously 10/11, October 11th is my birthday. So I didn't realize that I interviewed on my birthday 2 years ago. So that's
Awesome.
interesting as well. So, in case you guys didn't catch on, we are talking to the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, here today, former AIWF World Champion as well, which you lost that title to Mustang Mike earlier in the year. And I interviewed him right
Mhm.
before the title change. So, if you don't mind, I'd just like to open up with asking about your match with Mustang Mike.
Man, Mustang has always been a tough customer. He and I, we have, I'd say, a championship history against one another. He defeated me for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship many years ago, and then I beat him back for it again. And then I actually went and I retained the AIWF World Title against him under dubious circumstances because some other guys got involved. We didn't want to get involved, and so we had to have the rubber match, and he ended up winning the rubber match, and he became the new AIWF World Champion. So I've
Yeah,
always respected him. He's a good guy, and he's a credit to professional wrestling. We know we see a lot of guys that are maybe not the best people that they need to be, but Mustang Mike is good people, as they say. So
yeah. I enjoyed interviewing him, and I enjoy watching him as well. Whenever I get a chance, he's lost the title since, from my understanding. So I haven't been able to keep up as
yeah,
much as of late. Yeah.
just recently he lost to Lou Gotti, which is another guy that's he's a professional, man. I don't like all of his decisions and some of the things he says sometimes, but you know what? He's a pro. So I mean, the
Well,
AIWF, we have a last couple of years we've had really good lineage for sure of champions.
absolutely. And I'm actually looking to get Lou Gotti on the show sometime in the next few weeks, hopefully. So, yeah. So I want to go back to earlier this year. So, since the last time we talked, it's been a while, but you've been doing a lot with, obviously Pro Wrestling Mid South, and you've had a relationship with the AIWF, and some of the guys from AIWF Northeast has come down. They launched in February, and let me ask you about I'm one of this guy, Corey Duke and Algo Nelly. You and Yellow Jacket had a chance to meet those guys. Those guys are from up here, and I absolutely love those two. They're really great friends, and they're a regular kind of a regular part of the show here. They've made several appearances.
Yeah, man, I love young talent. I love people that want to get better and want to learn and are heading in the right direction. I'm a fan of both those guys. They made a really good impression on me. Really good attitudes, really good work ethic, and they were really good in the ring considering the lack of experience that they have. You know what I mean? Like I judge people like a lot of times I won't ask somebody how long they've been working before I wrestle them, just so I can kind of guess afterwards, if I guess right or I guess wrong or whatever it is. But um, I was wrong on them because they impressed me. You know what I mean? Like I thought they'd been wrestling several years and it only been like a year. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's always a good sign if you're overestimating them like that. So
Yeah, and I think that Nelly actually last time I spoke to him was really looking forward to getting back down there to go down to Pro Wrestling Mid South. Last time I spoke with him, which was probably just a couple weeks ago, and
yeah,
Corey Duke, I got to say that he's one of my current favorites in the independent scene. I think that yeah, I was there for his first match ever, and if you had a chance to witness this match, like you'd think that he had been working for quite a while.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of the impression I got. Like I said, I mean, they were definitely impressive, in their debut for us. So I'm looking forward to having them back in the near future. So
Yeah, yeah. And of course, you came to Connecticut for as part of the debut event for
yeah,
AIWF Northeast, which was kicking off the AIWF weekend of the anniversary, and you got to wrestle the PAPW World Champion at the time, Troy Steven. He's since lost the title. Um, what do you think about it coming up to Connecticut and working with in the PAPW facility? I know you hung around a while and you get to talk to Paul and Mario, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love going anywhere. Like you put a wrestling ring somewhere, I mean, I'm there. I'm not
Yep.
highbrow. I'm not Mr. Too cool to go this place or that place, put me in front of, a smaller building like that, a smaller venue where, the fans are right next to us and they can feel the action. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yep.
impressed with everyone there. I really was. And of course, getting, a chance to meet Paul and getting a chance to interact with him some and him, he's a hard nut to crack, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he doesn't just put everyone over, you know what I mean? Like you get that old school vibe from him. But he gave me the nod. He's like, so he was impressed and he liked me and I've always been a fan of his. So I mean, it was definitely an honor to get up there to Connecticut. I actually had never been to the Northeast before. I'd always done
Really?
my stuff. So yeah, all my stuff is always Southern, Southeast. I did some California stuff and Texas stuff, obviously, and a lot of places in between. But I Northeast is the one place I hadn't been. So getting to go to Connecticut and actually driving by the WWE headquarters and, and all that kind of stuff on the way in. So I mean, it was a great experience. I'd love to come back, and I know some of my students, were interested maybe in trying to get up there too.
Yeah, well, I know there's things in the works going on for the AIWF Northeast. I've been speaking with the promoter quite often, so hopefully something great will happen soon. And so
Yeah.
what was your thoughts on Connecticut in general? I think you were only here for a few hours, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot like a lot of people when I tell people I've wrestled in California and Texas and Vegas and all these places, it's like the most time all I see is a road and a hotel room in the arena. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
what I saw of Connecticut was fine. I was interested in like, the historical kind of downtown feel of everything, that kind of
right.
that old New England architecture and that kind of stuff was interesting to
Yep.
see because me being from Tennessee, obviously. But yeah, the wrestling's wrestling, man. It's amazing. We talk about, internationally, we gotten to wrestle guys from Mexico and Japan and places in between like that. But like we all speak wrestling, you know what I mean?
Right, right,
So
right.
it all translates, you know what I mean? That's the great thing about it, Never wrestled a day in my life in the Northeast, and I was able to go out there and perform and be the highlight of the show, and people understood it because hey, it's wrestling. They
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. Next time you do come up to the Northeast or Connecticut in particular, gonna have to take you to New Haven for some of the famous New Haven pizza, if you.
Yeah, I want to try the pizza, and then also, don't you guys have like the first burger joint ever?
Yep, that's actually like probably both places. The famous pizza and the burger joint is literally walking distance between my work office
Is
during
there?
the day. So yeah, so it's like I could
I'm
go either one on my lunch break.
I'm
So
I'm a I'm a burger connoisseur. Like I love burgers. So, I mean, I really want to go there, but it was a Sunday. I think they were closed on the Sunday, maybe, or I had to fly out early. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
yeah,
yeah, next time I come up, I definitely want to hit that.
yeah. Sometimes it's one of those places you can find online. Some people think it's overrated. Some people think it's fantastic. Me, I love
Yeah,
it personally, but you're not allowed to put
right,
ketchup
right.
on that burger. No ketchup on that burger. They
Yeah,
will ban you from the building. So,
yeah, yeah.
so, so, going forward, earlier this year, obviously you ended up teaming up with now it's your son is Xander, correct?
Well, I have two sons. The oldest one is Xavier. He's the one that wrestles.
Oh, I don't know why my notes came up. All right, so you're teaming up with him now, right? As the Anthony Express.
Yeah, yeah. So you
Okay.
mentioned you mentioned the yellow jacket earlier.
Yep.
Xavier was the yellow jacket,
That I
and
had no clue. I've been trying to figure that out for so long, and I've been a fan of that character
uh,
since
he got
first.
unmasked by a tag of the trouble.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so they a tag team named the Troublemakers unmasked him, and revealed that it was my son. And so now we're a tag team. we don't have to pretend anymore. You know what I mean? So me and him are, Xavier Anthony and Greg Anthony, and we're the Anthony Express. So
Right.
we're tagging, and we're the current Mid South Tag Team Champions, and we are rocking and rolling, man. We, obviously being father with first father and son tag team champions for that title, and we take great pride in that, and obviously our chemistry is there. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
obviously. Yeah, yeah. Um, I think that's awesome because it's like, it's just like I don't know, it's like a next step in your career and you're elevating him as well, because like, I mean, kind of very well known and my opinion, kind of legendary down there as well. That's just my
I,
opinion.
I appreciate that. I hate throwing around the word legend, especially about myself, but
Yeah, yeah.
just the Anthony Express, we're just I'm doing for him what beautiful Bobby Eaton did for me. Me and Bobby were a tag team for 2 years, and we were Midnight Gold, and he was the veteran guy, and I was the kind of guy coming up, and he helped me along, and that's what I'm trying to do with my own son, and that's why we're the Anthony Express, to pay homage to Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, and that whole crew. So
Right, right. And I think last time we spoke, we got really good, like deep into your relationship with Bobby Eaton, which I got to kind of dive deep into prior to interviewing you, which I didn't know. And I do want to ask though, we spoke a little bit about traditional championship wrestling, which
yeah.
was, they had TV, we had the TV up here in the Northeast as well, and there was a kind of multitude of legends that kind of work there, and young talents such as yourself. I believe Tim Storm worked there as well, and
Mhm.
I came across a video this morning. Actually, was doing some a little taking a little bit extra notes of you being interviewed by Chris Cruz, famous WCW announcer, and quite the character on social media, if you will. So, what do you think of working with Chris Cruz and his opinions on professional wrestling in the modern era, and I guess his character in on social media these days?
Well, it's not a character. Number one, I mean,
Well,
that's who he is. Like,
yeah,
uh, Chris Cruz and I felt we were actually really good friends during the TCW era. TCW, like you said, we were available in 50 million homes. In my
right,
opinion, we were the third company in the country. There was WWE, there was Impact or TNA, and then I thought us in Ring of Honor. I felt like we had better production, and we were more of an old school Southern style. So I felt we were
right,
third. You know what I mean? And
right.
people can debate that back and forth, but I digress. But Chris Cruz and I really felt like we kind of connected because he knew how to put over the Golden Boy Greg Anthony at the commentary desk, and he did a fantastic job. Over the last couple of years, we're not one and the same at all. I'm Christian, family guy, and he's atheist, liberal, whatever, and that's not
Right.
he's made fun of our Christian. He's made fun of my religion. He's made fun of my me still wrestling at my age. He makes fun of Southern wrestling. He makes fun of the AIWF as a world organization. He's taking shots
I've
at just
seen
about
that. Yeah,
everything. Yeah,
yeah.
he's taking shots at just about everything.
Yeah, I've seen him comment about the AIWF and you holding the world title, and I'm just like, I don't know if he's just a grumpy old man or what have you. And I always enjoyed the TCW, and I guess to
Yeah,
say number three is a traditional style Southern kind of wrestling. That's the stuff I always loved growing up, even growing up in the
yeah,
Northeast where WWF was the primary, I guess you could say, and the biggest company at the time. I always enjoyed watching a lot of the other old Southern stuff, which I got through like tape trading, and
right,
nowadays I
right,
can get a lot of that stuff through the internet and stuff like that. So I always like that
right.
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Southern style, like I said, that's what always drew me in too. I mean, it was, and I did, when you're a kid, like when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't know how do you explain what you like and what you don't like necessarily. I knew I liked wrestling, but then I always kind of gravitated more toward stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, you froze there for a second. So, um, tell
That's
me
fine.
about tell me about the Herb Welch WrestlePlex. It's obviously Herb Welch is a legendary professional wrestler from the area. How did this come to be about named after him?
So, in Dyersburg, Tennessee, he lived on Millsfield Highway, which is right town, and he's just anyone that I talked to over the age of 60 mentioned
Hmm.
Herb Welch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And obviously he was past my era. I mean, I think he was retired by the time I was born. You know what I mean? But they always kind of mentioned him. So I went back and did my research, and found out what a pivotal figure he was, especially in the South. Like the Welches and the Fullers and the Jarretts and all those families, they're all connected in the South, and pretty much like every major decision that happened in Southern wrestling at a point was made from Dyersburg, Tennessee.
Hmm.
And Herb Welch was from Dyersburg, Tennessee. So I had this idea that I wanted to name our building the Herb Welch Wrestleplex, and God once again put you where you need to be. I was on a show in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, and I was on a show with the Fullers and the Welches. And I asked them, hey, can I, I'm starting a weekly show in Dyersburg, Tennessee. Would you mind if I called it the Herb Welch Wrestleplex? And they said, man, you can do whatever you want. We don't want any money for anything like that. Just go do your thing. We appreciate you keeping his name alive, that kind of thing. So it was a big deal. And then we had Ron Fuller come in a couple years ago, and we inducted him into our Hall of Champions, and he was the same thing. He was really impressed at our facilities and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that we had it named the Herb Welch Wrestleplex in honor of his uncle, and how we kept his name alive. He said he would have loved this. He said it been perfect for him. So it's really been a great honor just to do that.
Right. That's awesome. And you guys still charge only $5 a show, right? Every Friday and Saturday, is it?
Yeah, every Friday in Ripley, Tennessee, and then we
Yep.
do every Saturday in Dyersburg, Tennessee, and it's only $5. I want a family of four to be able to come for $20. You know what I mean? And now we do bigger events, like our quote unquote PLEs or pay-per-views or however you want to put it. But like this weekend, for instance, is our big anniversary show. It's our 11-year anniversary in Dyersburg. So the tickets are $12 for a front row and $10 general admission. You know what I mean? But
Right.
that happens every 6 weeks or so. We'll have something big like that. But for the most part, it's a $5 night, every night.
So how important is it now? This is a serious question because you guys are charging such a low rate, okay? Which is to me very important to be able to a family of four or more to be able to come at an affordable rate. Obviously, lately there's some major corporation out there that's raising their prices and making their ticket prices, the WWE, that are not able to be able to take their families out there, which I find disgusting because I always used to take my kids and stuff like that. And, I don't, it's just, and then me and my friends used to go, like our adult friends and stuff like that. So tickets are outlandish, even for like the cheap seats being hundreds of dollars nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a fan of greed in general. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I just, as a Christian, our pastor just spoke about it this week. If you've got a stingy heart and you're a Christian, then you're probably not really a Christian. You know
Mm,
what I mean? So like for me, it's like we're trying to make it as affordable as we can for everybody. And the fact that, WWE and TKO are looking at those things is it's already astronomical to take someone to a big event. I mean,
right.
WrestleMania, you know, it would cost you if you wanted to sit on the floor at WrestleMania for a family of four. I mean, it's got to be $30,000
Crazy.
by the time you get through with everything. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Hotels and whatever, and then if you want to eat on top of it, because food's outrageous at those events too. We even control our prices in the concession stand. Like I think in 11 years we went up 50 cents in our concession stand prices. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I mean we're big on the fact that we want people to come and enjoy professional wrestling and not have to, you know, spend an arm and a leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want them to support us as much as they can. You know what I mean? So, buy a t-shirt, buy this if you can. but and a lot of times if someone messages me on Facebook and says, "Hey, I don't get paid till next week," I'll ask them, "Hey, you can come on, I'll let you in." You know what I mean? Because I know, by doing that, then they're gonna come more often anyway.
That's awesome. That is really cool that you guys do that. So, I mean, you got those 1970s prices with the ticket prices, and I think that's
I know, right? When Cornette starts talking about on the drive-through, he starts talking about all the old ticket prices and stuff like that, and it's like the same prices I have today. I start thinking to myself, like, what am I doing? But then, but then, like I said, I do want to make it. Dyersburg's not a rich town, obviously. We're a small town.
right.
60,000 people is the population for
Wow.
Dyersburg, Tennessee. Ripley is even less. I think it's like 6 or 7 thousand. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So we're in rural small town America, Tennessee, and I just want people to come enjoy, bring their kids and bring their families, enjoy family friendly Christian based thing.
Right.
So
Right. I think a family friendly product is extremely important. That's something that I try to push up here a lot, and try to get the people to understand. You know what I'm saying? But I
yeah.
guess with the shift in the industry over the last like 30 years or so, it's just sometimes it doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, people remember the Attitude Era, and they kind of look at it like with rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. Yeah, they did that for a little bit, and they popped the house, and they did this, and they did that. But you saw very soon after that they went to PG because they realized, hey, we need sponsors, we need this. If we continue down this way, then we're not creating new fans, we're not creating young fans. You know what I mean? We have to have the young fans that eventually grow up to be the older fans. Like I tell everybody every day, like a 40-year-old doesn't wake up one day and say, "Hey, I think I'm going to become a professional wrestling fan today." You know what I mean? Unless they have a kid that becomes a professional wrestling fan, right?
Right.
So like, and that's why I say if you get the kids, you get the parents, and we're going to get the wrestling fans either way. So let's gear it towards the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are the crowds like, and what is the scene like down in your area now? 2 years later, did you get good crowds down there? Is there a lot of wrestling down in your area, or you guys kind of like the primary thing that's going on in that area?
Well, I mean, and this goes back to my heart condition and my testimony and all that kind of stuff. But I end up living in you know I can't throw a rock without hitting a weekly wrestling show in West Tennessee.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's so many.
Right.
There's so many around here. It was inevitable that I was going to be a professional wrestler and be able to do this, which ended
Right.
up, saving my life physically and spiritually. But, we try to obviously we set ourselves apart by being what you're talking about, a family-friendly, Christian-based company. A lot of people try to push the envelope and they try to be edgy and they try to do this and try to do that, or they try to be WWE light, which just comes off, very, very I don't know what the word is. It doesn't set well with me. You know what I mean? I don't want to watch that
Right.
product, So for us, we try to be as close to 1985 as you can be in 2025. We have good versus evil, we have characters, we have, old school wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take a brain buster from the top rope to the floor. You know what I mean? Like I'm never going to do anything that crazy, and there's a reason
Yeah.
why I've been wrestling 25 years. I'm 44 years old and I'm still very active and still able to go out there and tear the house down because I didn't do those things. You know what I mean? So, the scene here, yeah, we have a lot of wrestling fans. We have a lot of people that, and like a lot of things. And I think this is where some promoters miss the boat is, especially when you're running weekly like we do, is yeah, we have a core group of fans that come every single week. But then we have somebody that comes once a year, or someone comes every 6 months, or they only come when their brother's in town, or something like that, and that's fine. They can come in and enjoy themselves and pick right up where they left off.
Yeah.
So we've been very blessed and lucky. Like I said, 11 years, we're by far the longest reigning company in this area with one company, one booker, one assistant booker the entire time. So
Yep. And you guys still put your stuff up on Facebook, the stream, or I know it went
yeah,
down
so
for a
what we do
while.
is
Yeah.
if you subscribe to our Facebook
Mhm.
for $9.99 a month, you get all of our Saturday night events live streamed. And we do have some issues with it because Facebook does a lot of copyright stuff, and we can't figure out whose music does it because they don't really tell us who or what or when. They just kind
Right.
of they like it plays or whatever, and then it'll kind of take it down. We have to go back out and do it. So you may miss like 2 or 3 minutes of a match or something like that, but we try to get it back up going as quickly as possible. But yeah, you can get four or five shows basically for $10 a month, so you can kind of see what we're doing and how we're doing it. And like I said, our big anniversary show is Saturday. So if you're going to subscribe again, this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's amazing to do something like that. So I think that video content is very important in this day and age for any independent wrestling company to get people out there, to get people to know. There's so many companies like up here that don't do anything on YouTube or social media or anything like that, or not very
Yeah,
good at it,
we're
not good
very
at
we're,
advertising.
yeah, we're very good at our social media and keeping it active and stuff like that. But at the same time, though, we want to make a profit. And a lot of people, you don't make money unless they come in the door, kind of thing. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's that perfect balance. We give them a little bit of the content. Hey, come watch us, but we don't want to give it away so people just decide to stay at home and not come see us. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a balance, but our social media is very strong here. We're the number one business on social media in this area. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I got this big question that for you. I know last time you were here, we talked about the NWA. Pro Wrestling Mid South was part of the NWA at one point, correct? The territory for the NWA. And well,
yes,
we talked about how when Billy Corgan bought the NWA, he shut down all the territories and the titles. And then basically now, was it 5, 6, 7 years later, he's starting to
mm,
add territories back to the NWA. Joe Kazana Promotions. He's added two in Texas, Crossfire, Chicago, and Exodus out of Ohio. And there's probably still more coming in the future. I'm guessing it just happens slow and etc. And what are your current thoughts on it now that it's been 2 years since we've last talked about Billy buying the NWA, and 2 years later to him adding more territories, and your idea on what the NWA is now and their territory system?
yeah, I'm still not a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, he trashed all of us, under the guise of, hey, I don't know what's going to happen at these promotions. I don't want to get sued, basically, I think is what the story was, that he didn't want to know what could happen at these other promotions. And then owning the NWA, eventually they find the millionaire to sue. You know what I mean? So he
Hmm.
didn't want to put himself in that kind of position. And here he is putting himself in that kind of position, So
Yeah.
once again, it's kind of a hypocritical move in my opinion. To me, he's always walking that line of he wants to be, this classic old school, NWA throwback kind of thing, but then he still tries to walk the line of, well, we're going to be hip and we're going to be cool and we're going to be edgy and we're going to do this. And when you try to tell me that you're classic old school wrestling and you have these beautiful set of tag team titles, but then in the very next scene, I see a guy doing cocaine on your television thing. You know what I mean? Like you're double minded. You know what I mean? Like you're splitting your focus and you're not doing what you're supposed to be. Like one thing I say about WWE, no matter whether you love them or you hate them, when they pick a direction, they usually go that direction. When
Right.
when they decided John Cena was their guy, you know what I mean? They told us for 20 years, hey, he's our guy, and we're going that direction with him. Same thing with Roman Reigns. When they decided Roman Reigns was their guy, they went that direction with him. So Billy Corgan, I think, just needs to pick a lane. Is he traditional old
Yeah.
school wrestling? Or is he trying to be this new hip thing, whatever? If he's trying to be new hip, whatever, then it's not NWA anyway. But if he's
Yeah.
going to be classic old school professional wrestling, then he needs to hire someone in charge that can implement those kind of changes and keep it old school wrestling. I mean, myself,
Yeah.
Trevor Murdoch, there's a lot of guys that, have that mindset and would be able to run a company like that. But like, I don't think Corgan does. If Corgan was that smart about professional wrestling, then his Chicagoland promotion would have been a lot more successful than it was.
Right. Right. I don't think like I watch it, and I watch it weekly because I joined a podcast where we discuss weekly NWA news and the TV show. And like I tell you, I've been very displeased over and very critical of the brand as a whole. It's kind of very disappointing growing up such a large fan of the National Wrestling Alliance, and it's just, and I liked stuff that he was doing the first couple of years pre-COVID, and then it just seems that everything's either just stupid skits, stupid comedy type stuff, and it's not like he has trouble, in my opinion, creating stars. There's very few stars that he's created with that company. I mean, Thrillbilly, I really like a lot. Tom Latimer, I really like a lot, but it just seems a lot of times it's very difficult to sit through a 45-minute show.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of booking. I mean, creating stars is all about booking. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And if you're actually a great booker, then you learn to hide people's weaknesses and accentuate their strengths. And that's what booking is, and putting them in positions to succeed. It doesn't mean that this guy wins, 150 matches in a row like Goldberg. You know what I mean? It just means you put him in a position to where he's strong and people understand he's strong and he's a star and we're doing this with him. And
right.
then eventually you build up a baby face over here like that, and then you build up a heel over there the same way, and then eventually they converge, and then now we're going to make money because we're going to do this hot angle between these two guys. So, not understanding those basic principles, I think really hurts him overall.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is like I went to the 77th anniversary show because it was up here in New York, which was supposed to be an hour and a half drive for me, but it ended up being almost 3 hours because of traffic to drive into New York from
Yeah.
Connecticut and during rush hour. But either way, regardless, I thought it was a really good show, but his shows are like 4 or 5 hours, okay? Because they're doing TV tapings. They don't do anything in between. And they're months behind on the TV. This was the
Right.
beginning of August, the beginning, middle of August, that Thrillbilly won the title. And they haven't even played that match yet. It's been 3 months already, which I'm just like, you're so far behind. And now people started to leave in the middle of the show. So, like, it was less than half of what was there in the beginning to see the main event. And I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. And it hurts the product very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you have to have all your ducks in a row for that kind of stuff, which, like I've been preaching this forever. He just doesn't have the experience. Like I'm sure Billy Corgan loves professional wrestling. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Well,
Hmm.
I love music. Well,
Right.
I'm not going to produce his next album. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like. I feel like, we have a musician that's in charge of three of the most important letters in wrestling history.
Right.
And it's caused an issue for the last since 2017. So
Right.
it's just it's hard to deal with, and I wish it was better, but unfortunately the NWA, since the end of the WCW partnership that they had in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
It's basically been you're not NWA for life, you're NWA for a little bit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
whoever's in charge and whatever their personality is and whatever their, whatever visions they have until the next person has control of it. So unfortunately that's just kind of been the way it's been for the last, 30 years. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I hope whoever gets in charge of it the next time, if Bill Corgan ever sells or whatever eventually happens with it, I hope it's someone that has the old school sensibilities like I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you're saying because it's like I've been a supporter ever since I was a kid. And ever since the post, I guess, WCW, it's always stuff that you had to dig for and sought after, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
find. It was always not always easy to find because I mean I got TV up here when Crockett was running in the Sportatorium for the with 1995, I guess. Got it
Hmm.
up here for a few weeks and then disappeared. And then I'd get Wild Side, I'd get certain
Yeah.
groups up here on TV every so often, and then it just everything else is I have to find a tape or what have you. So it's not easy to be an NWA fan for a number of years, and now it's even harder to be a traditional NWA fan with the way Billy Corgan runs the NWA.
Right.
Yeah. So, Greg, what else do you have coming up in the near future for the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, and Pro Wrestling Mid South?
Man, we're just like I said, we got a big anniversary show this weekend. We're actually fixing to hit a big stride of this is one of our biggest times of the year because we have our anniversary show It's 11 years. Glory lasts forever. 11. And then next month we go to the $10,000 Royale Challenge, which is our big battle royal event on Thanksgiving weekend. We do actually three events on Thanksgiving weekend. We do Thanksgiving night, the Friday, and the Saturday. So we do three big events for Thanksgiving Throwdown weekend. And then we end the year with what we call the Winter Classic, you know? So, like, we've got a big stretch of stuff going on the next couple months. And I'm going to be working for, me and Xavier are tagging for SICW, Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling, and Herb Simmons down there. We're going to be doing some stuff with them. And then we're also doing some stuff for American Hostile Championship Wrestling in Missouri as well, more towards
Okay.
my side, eastern, north, southeastern side of Missouri. So we're kind of doing a little bit here and there, trying to stay busy. And man, we're just, like I said, we're just rocking and rolling, and blessed to be doing what we love.
Yeah. What's the crowds like on a Thanksgiving night? I know that's traditionally back in the day, Thanksgiving night was a big
Yeah,
wrestling night, and people would actually go out. I mean, I don't know if over the years that's kind of changed over the years. There's not as many events,
right.
on Thanksgiving evening. And so, what's it like for you guys?
It actually does pretty well for us, just because, obviously the whole thing is people eat and they kind of sit around. You've got a bunch of family in town, and then they're just sitting around, kind of looking at each other. What are they going to do? And
Yeah,
we've actually done pretty well with it. And then also because we had a movie theater here in town, but our theater closed a couple years ago. So now we're the only thing going on Thanksgiving Day. So yeah, we do pretty well. What we do is we actually offer Thanksgiving plates on the day at the concession stand. So, like, if you don't have anywhere to go on Thanksgiving, you can come to wrestling and get yourself Thanksgiving food and kind of sit down and relax and you know do everything.
that's awesome. That sounds like a really great time. It's like one day I'd love to get down there to go to one of your shows. Seriously, I mean, I watch the videos online, so I'd love to actually get down to Dyersburg at some point and check you guys out.
Yeah, you got an open invitation anytime you want to come down and hang out. Like I said, we do every Friday and Saturday, and then we do spot shows at schools and birthday parties. So I mean, we do 125 events a year. So I mean,
That's
I haven't
amazing.
heard of anybody doing more. I haven't heard of anyone doing more than 125. So if you hear anybody doing more than that, then let me know. But right as of right now, I say that we're the busiest company in wrestling.
It sounds like it because I mean I know there's a lot of company up here that runs monthly or either bi-monthly. You know what I mean? There's not
Right.
things that are there's very few companies that will run even a couple times a month. I do think that maybe sometimes during the summer PAPW will run a couple times a month, but that's on a very rare occasion.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Greg, I want to thank you very much for coming back and doing this again. So, is there anything else you want to close out with?
Man, just like we always say, all glory to God. Thank you for everybody. We have our own ministry too. So I mean, we do Sunday night services at 6 here in Dyersburg. So if anyone's in my area that would like to come do that, we can do that too. So I mean, I appreciate you having me on. I'd love to get back up to Connecticut sometime and maybe drop kick someone again. I don't think I drop kicked anybody last. I haven't pulled out the drop kick in about 4 or 5 years, I don't think, but maybe I'll come off the top rope. I do that about once
There
or
you go.
twice a year now, but we can definitely figure it out. I just appreciate guys like you that do podcasts and let us get out there and get our information out there and tell our stories, and any opportunity we have to do something like that, I'm always down. So
Yep. Well, thank you, and I appreciate your friendship and getting to know you over the couple of years that we've known each other. And obviously, we met in February, this past February, for the first time in
yeah, yeah,
person, which that was really cool. I thought so to be able to do that, and hopefully, like I said, it'll happen again sometime.
yeah.
All right.
You had to leave early, didn't you? Was your wife okay? I
Yeah,
think she had some
yeah,
she had like a medical emergency that night. I got worried about you.
yeah. She actually had an allergic reaction to her medication, and
Really?
what ended up happening is she sent me a picture and her lip had blown up. I said, "Oh shit!" I said, "As soon as this show's done, I'll be right there." And I took her to the emergency room, and they put her on another medication, and it brought it down. It was like she was on a blood
Right.
pressure medication. Apparently,
Uh,
my wife is an African American woman. Apparently, in African American women, it tends to affect people differently, according to the doctor. So,
Hmm.
and that it just her lip blew up, and I was just like, oh my God. I said, as soon as I'm out, as soon as the show's done, I'm out. And I just wanted to say my goodbyes, and I flew out of there and brought her to the hospital, and we were there probably until about 5 or 6 in the morning. So
Oh,
yeah, I wanted to go to the after party to the show, and that kind of ruined it. I mean, I don't want to say ruined it for me. My wife is, God and family first, but
yeah, absolutely.
you know, and I just, you're always talking about Christianity, or and this past uh this past summer, I've actually given my life to Jesus for the first time in my life. After not going to church for 30 years, I was baptized in August, and I've been um, I've been very active in my church since, going several times a week. I joined a men's group in my church, and I'm. This is the most amazing thing in my life right now. That I've made that change over the years.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's what it is, man. If you knew me 10 years ago, like I wasn't this horrible, horrible person or anything, but I cussed and I got angry and I yelled at people and I just flew off the handle and I did a lot of kind of stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I'm such I'm such at peace now with so many things. You know,
Yes.
we talked about this not long ago. It was, people say, well, God will never give you more than you can handle. That's kind of a big thing that a lot of people like to say. It's not necessarily true. What it is you can handle anything through God,
Yes.
right? So, yes, if you're given any situation because you have God in your life, you can handle it.
Yes.
Now, the opposite coin of that is there's lots of things that God could give you. And if you're not a godly person and you're not praying and you're not living your life like you should be, you're probably not going to be able to handle it because God isn't in your life. And I've seen that many a times. I've lived that many a times where there was lots of situations that almost destroyed me, you know what I mean? And it was because I didn't have my own house in order, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So like for anyone out there listening, you know what I mean, hey, get to church, know Jesus, plant that
Yes.
seed, and once you give your life to Christ, and you know this as well as I do, you become a disciple. You know what I mean?
You will
I
notice a positive difference in your life, and it's I feel like a better human being. I'm trying to be a better father, better husband, and just be a better human being as all through the power of Christ.
Absolutely. And then
Yeah.
you go out there and you have to tell people your testimony. And so I used to joke all the time because I could turn any conversation into wrestling. You know what I mean? Like anyone walked up to me, hey, went to school with you, blah blah blah. I could immediately turn it into wrestling. And I still do that, but then I turn it to God too. I give all glory to
Yeah.
God, and we start talking about the ministry and stuff like that. So God used me in the skills and the talents that I possess. They're not mine. They're his that he gave me. I have nothing that I did not first receive. So I try to use them for all his glory.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'm absolutely loving life right now. I mean, my wife has noticed a big difference in my behavior. A big difference is how I am around the house. Obviously, it's always a work in progress. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I'm not
absolutely.
100%. I'm still working on the cussing thing. That thing that's hard to kind of. But I've been better. But I've been
Yeah.
better. You know, I
Oh,
have no I have no real need for alcohol or anything like that. I used to drink. I mean, not to the point where there was an issue, but I used to drink. You know what I mean? And pretty heavily. I mean, I probably had 2 or 3 beers since. You know what I mean? Not even probably actually, now that I think about it. But it's like, I used to have, hang out with my buddies and have some drinks. But I feel pretty good about myself right now?
dude, on the cussing thing, and people will tell you I was the worst. Like I used to cuss. It wasn't just every sentence. Like I used to
Yeah.
cuss every other word in the sentence. Every other word was F this, F that, F what it was horrible. And I'm
Yeah.
almost embarrassed about how I used to talk, you know, now, but like I've got it pretty much under control. But yeah, it slips every once in a while. But I mean, it's just like you said, it's a process.
Yeah.
I gave my life to Christ in 2017, and if I would have tried to do everything that I'm doing now in 2017, I probably would have failed. I probably would have backtracked, all that kind of stuff. But just gradually, I've let God into my heart and into my life and different parts of my life. And then once you have them in certain parts of your life, you want them everywhere.
Yes.
and that's kind of what we've done. So I'm immensely
Yeah.
grateful every day.
Me too. Me too. I try to get my kids to go. Well, my youngest son, 10 years old, he goes. He absolutely loves going to children's church, and our church has a children's church. I got my father to go for the first time in God knows how long. You know what I mean? This past weekend. So he came with us, and he grew up Catholic just like me. I grew up when I walked out of the Catholic Church at 16, but uh, you know, recently, like I said, gave my life to Christ this past year. But he was very impressed. He was like, "Wow, that was different." I said, "Yeah, because it's like you go to Catholic Church, it's very quiet,
Yeah,
mundane, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever been to a Catholic church before, but you know,
I've
but
heard.
it's
I haven't been, but I've heard.
yeah, it's very so it's this is very it's more it's very diverse. First off, it's very exciting.
Yeah,
The pastor is actually from down in Texas who moved up to the Northeast and started his church 3 years ago, and it's he's made this gigantic difference in our town, and it's he has like four services over a weekend, and it's kind of amazing, honestly. He does it kind of modern and kind of upbeat. He's actually 50, same age as me, and he's kind of upbeat, and he kind of jokes around, but he also gives that positive
yeah,
word as well, trying to keep it for the young
yeah.
kids to come in and stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Going from Catholic, you gotta see Southern gospel. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and that's
right.
what you're talking about. The guy from Texas. I guarantee you, he's the Southern gospel I'm talking about. And that's how our pastor is too. And as long as you
Yeah,
have a church that preaches the word, they can go, "Hey, I'm telling you this," and they go, "Well, don't just believe me. It's right here in your Bible. I'm gonna show you where it is." You know what I mean? You
right,
know it's in the word. Then that's all you need, man. Just stand on the word and keep moving forward.
right, right. And it's just an amazing thing, and keep going forward and focus on the positivity that through Christ. It's like I said,
Well,
I can
hey,
only imagine where I'm gonna go.
let me put over one more thing then, since we started
Absolutely.
talking about. I completely forgot almost, but I actually wrote a Christian song, and I wrote the lyrics, and then my son helped me with AI.
Hmm.
So we used AI to finish it, but like I've released it now. It's on YouTube and Spotify and wherever you listen to your music, it should be there now. And
Okay.
it's the Golden Boy Project. It's by the Golden Boy Project, and it's called 41.
Okay.
41.
Okay.
So if anyone search just search that anywhere, and then if you like that, please share it or send me a message or whatever. I'd appreciate that.
Yep. I'm gonna put it in the description of this episode, so on YouTube. So click
Right.
the link there, and then you will find it. So I'm gonna look it up. So I'll look it up. Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much for coming on again. And we got to do this again. Maybe not wait 2 years. I mean, maybe do it a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. You know me, I'm down to talk anytime. We can talk about wrestling, we can talk about Christianity, we can talk about basketball. That's my wheelhouse. So we can
all
talk
right,
about any of those things right there.
all right. Thank you so much.